The rest of the agenda are policy and resources items. First one is the housing revenue account, budget and capital plans. And Councillor Mrs. Trott has asked to keep this on this, so you'll struggle across again between us. Right. So this is purely housing. This is the housing revenue account, budget and capital plans. Of course, we do have quite a dent being made in our housing revenue account in terms of now reducing rents rather than increasing rents by 1% each year, with the exception of the supported housing schemes such as sheltered housing schemes where the original rent increases will apply at the CPI plus 1%, but the general needs housing is going to see a reduction, and that does have quite an effect on our plans in terms of spending on improvements, etc. So anyway, the report is there. I don't propose to add anything further to it. So, Councillor Mrs. Trott, you'd like to make more comments?
Thank you very much, Chairman. Well, you've already made the point now and at the beginning that this borough has had a reduction in money from the government, and I'm particularly concerned at the risk assessments, which are well laid out here on page 51. If you look at, bearing in mind that we have already paid out roughly £49 million to come out of the subsidy system that was done nationally, which we thought was a very good idea at the time. We have got losses of income. If you look on page 52, third one down in the table, cost of checking those households with an income of greater than £30,000 per annum, because we have got to tell the DCLG the details of our property values, and then some poor soul, we're probably going, it says here, paragraph 18, we might require the addition of a new post. It says there £37,000, I'm not sure it will be that, they don't know, it's a guesstimate I think. So that's one amount of money that's gone, and I'm very concerned about it, as I'm sure fellow members concerned with housing will be. There'll be much less money in the housing revenue account, and therefore there'll be less new homes. So my concern is that we will not be able to build council and housing association homes for rent other than for older people. And I'm very worried about it. I'm wondering what our council's view is going to be on to central government's requirement that local authorities will have to consider selling high value properties. And if we decide not to do so, because we need those high value properties, the 4-bedroom ones or 3-bedrooms, and I would suggest that the majority of our properties in Fareham compared to elsewhere will be high value properties. If we decide we don't want to do that, I was horrified to learn, and I'm sure Councillor Mrs. Mandry knows, but I'm not sure that other executive members know, that even if we decide not to sell, we would still have to pay some money to the government. This is really bad, as I'm sure Councillor Mrs. Mandry, excuse me, taking words out of your mouth, Councillor Mrs. Mandry, but I know we think along very similar lines here. And it just seems that this government is taking money away, and now from our general fund, and now this HRA money is going to go. And where are people going to live if we can't provide houses for rent? I know that the government is proposing to have houses for sale at affordable prices, but there will always be some people who don't earn enough to have a mortgage. Thank you. That's just all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Right. Okay. Well, I think we share very similar concerns on this issue. It's why we took the initiative, perhaps preemptively, to set up the Specs Housing Company in conjunction with Eastleigh Borough Council, where we can hopefully get on and produce affordable housing, whether that is housing for rent or housing to buy. And of course, the real challenge with housing to buy in this day and age isn't so much the mortgage, it's finding the deposit, which is very, very significant indeed. So, yeah, these are worrying figures. We don't have enough housing, I don't think, for the government to get excited about what we're selling and what we're not selling. We only have 2,000 units which belong to Fareham Borough Council. A fair proportion of those are sheltered housing for our older residents in any event. And in terms of high value homes, well, I don't think we have enormous quantities of those. They're just higher value because they're in Fareham rather than in Gosport or in Portsmouth or in Southampton. But we will be as imaginative as we possibly can be in terms of turning up the sources of funding and of land. One thing is the government's initiative now on starter homes, which suddenly there seems to be billions of pounds available for starter homes, which wasn't available before, as opposed to houses for rent. So we're going to have to look very closely at what sources of funding might be available there. For example, involving Wellbourne, 2,000 affordable, in inverted commas, homes to go in there. Do we want to make them mainly starter homes? If there is money there to make the provision of starter homes viable. We have to look very carefully at what we do, how we run it, but yes, we did take on £40-something million worth of debt from the likes of Birmingham and Manchester and places like that to try and set a budget which would work for us, and then goalposts were moved, but isn't it always thus? We will do what we can to provide what housing we can in Fareham. There is a huge need for it.